Today, we will be talking about what notation is in chess and how you can use it to analyze and learn from your games. As you probably noticed, there are numbers and letters that surround the chessboard. The numbers go from 1 to 8, and the letters go from A to H. These numbers and letters can be found on any online chessboard, and the majority of boards that you will find in person also have them. Some real-life boards, however, might not have these numbers and letters. For those boards, the 1 starts on white's side and increases as you go to black's side. For the letters, A starts on white's left-hand side and increases as you go right. Black's on the opposite side of the board, so the A starts on black's right-hand side and increases as you go left. When we refer to the squares on a board, we use these numbers and letters. You can think of this process as pinpointing a location. We just have to find what lines the square is along and trace it back to the numbers and letters on the side. So, if we wanted to refer to this square, we would find along which number and letter it is aligned with. Going down, we see that the square is aligned with the B letter, and going left, we see that it is aligned with the 4 number. When we refer to a square, we first say the letter and then the number. So this square would be B4. If we wanted to refer to this square, for instance, we would repeat the process. The square aligns with the F letter and the 7 number, so this would be the F7 square. Let's practice this now. What square is this? Pause the video and I will reveal the solution in 3 seconds. This would be the G3 square. Remember, when we try to name the square, we find what letter and what number it is aligned to. Drawing a line in our head, we see that the square aligns with the G letter and the 3 number. Since the letter goes before the number, the square is the G3 square. Let's try another problem. What square is this? Pause the video and I will reveal the solution in 3 seconds. Repeating the process from earlier, we see that the square aligns with the D letter and the 6 number. Letters go before numbers, so this would be the D6 square. Knowing how to identify squares is important because it allows us to notate or keep track of our moves, and we can later use our recorded notation to analyze, review, and learn from our games. To start, let's learn how to keep notation. When you play online, your games are automatically notated, but when you play in real life, you have to keep notation yourself. Regardless of if you play online or in person, knowing how to annotate is an important skill. Each piece has a capitalized code letter that identifies it, usually the letter that the piece starts with, but not always. The rook's, for example, is a capitalized R. The bishop's is a capitalized B. The queen, a capitalized Q. And the king is a capitalized K. There are 2 special cases. While the knight starts with a K, it is represented with a capital N. The second special case is a pawn, which has no code letter. With these code letters in mind, we can record moves. When a piece moves, we first write the piece's code letter and then attach the square that the piece moved to. So for example, if the knight decided to move here, we would first write the code letter, which is a capital N, and then attach the square that the piece moved to. We see that the square is aligned with the F letter and the 3 number, so this would be the F3 square, and therefore we would write NF3 as our notation. Since moves are automatically notated online, we can check our answer here and see that we are correct. Let's look at another example. If our pawn wanted to move here, how would we write that? Well, we would follow the same process to record a move, which is to first write the code letter and then attach the square that it moved to. However, remember that pawns don't have any code letter, so to record our move, we would just write down the square it moved to. Using letters and numbers to trace and pinpoint the square, we see that the pawn moved to the e4 square. Again, we can check and see that we are correct with our notation. Now let's try this on your own. In this position, how would we annotate moving our queen to this square? Pause the video and I will reveal the solution in 3 seconds. Remember, to record a move, we first need to figure out the code letter for the piece and then attach the square that it moved to. The code letter for the queen is a capital Q. To figure out what square it moved to, we can use what we learned in the beginning and align the square to the letters and numbers on the board. The square would be B5. So, when notating this move, we would say QB5. In this next problem, write down all the possible moves for white's rook on A4. Pause the video and I will reveal the solution in 3 seconds. Here, white's rook can move to 4 squares. Here, 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 and here. The code letter for a rook is a capital R, so for each move, we need to find out which square it moved to. Using what we learned from earlier, we can figure out the squares and find out that the possible moves are rook b4, rook a5, rook a6, and rook a3. Once again, since we are moving online, notation is automatically tracked for us, and we can check our answers and see that we are correct. Good job. So, why is annotation important? If you annotate, you can later go over your games after it has finished. In real life, you can do it on a board, and playing online, you can go on chess.com at the URL chess.com/analysis, which brings up a board and is extremely useful for helping yourself improve. If you want to get better, you must realize and learn from your mistakes, and the only way to do this is to go through and replay your games. This allows you to identify all your mistakes and help you learn how to avoid these mistakes in the future. I recommend everyone to do this. Without annotation, you won't remember your game and you won't be able to go over it, and therefore, you won't learn from your mistakes and get better. And that's why you should annotate when you play. That is all. Thank you all for watching.